Peace and blessings. Hello, YouTube family. This is the Ripper coming to you live again. It's an honor, always an honor, privilege, and pleasure to come and speak to you guys, and of course our queens as well, because this semen retention topic is so important, it's so vital to our ultimate cultivation and human evolutionary development. Now, I've been reached out to by several of my peers and others to explain what I personally experienced in my 3-year retention journey. And I like to tell the brothers that reach out to me and ask me about that is, you never want to focus on the time frame, because then it becomes vanity, it becomes self-grandizing. It's not really, the time is not what's important. You want to just focus on day by day, overcoming, mastering it. Then you slowly grow into the benefits and the powers. It's not something you can readily notice all the time. It's your nature. Your nature brings out the benefits by God's permission, the Creator's permission. By you overcoming your trials and tribulations and mastering your low desires, God grants you these powers, and they become greater and greater as you continue to overcome and evolve and master your trials. And this is over a period of time. This is not a 24-hour period. This is over the years. It's a lifestyle. So this is something that you really have to be serious about. It's nothing to be played with. It's not a joke. It's not a game. This is a lifestyle, and it's something you really have to be serious about, because to play with it, you will never reach the benefits. You will never be in God's favor, and you will constantly be under chastisement and be under depression and anxiety, because you're not living to your fullest potential. So you don't justify your existence in this universe. Therefore, you're going to get removed. That's like one of the main signs before death is high anxiety, depression, and stress. And that's the universe letting you know you have to change something, because that's an uncomfortable feeling. So God is putting you in that uncomfortable state for you to change your actions, change your mindset. And when there's no change, another force comes, and it's death. So we have to be serious about this, man. It's not just about sex. That's the lowest, cheapest level of life. That's not pleasure. True pleasure is spiritual and mental abilities to vision, to create, to manifest. And that is why we're in this universe. And there's no reason for us to be alive in this universe if we're going to continue to bow down to what's unworthy to be bowed down to. But just to be brief, very brief, my personal sojourn in SR, or semen retention, I noticed tremendous benefits. One, I noticed much clarity. I noticed a much more calmer state where maturity and spiritual elevation was taking place. I noticed much more insight to consciousness, and not able to read things, but read into things, look into things. You have a more depth to knowledge and existence. So that becomes a part of it as well. You just get deeper intelligence, you get deeper insight to circumstances, to situations. You have much more insight and wisdom, really, from God as you continue on to that practice, because you're not distracted with sex and low desires. That's a distraction. When you focus on God's presence and what God has instructed us, then now God can bring out what's really within. Because remember, we are just creatures of the Creator. We are not self-created. We're in a beneficial universe with water that we did not create, food that we did not create, vegetation that we did not create, the sun we did not create, nor the creation itself. So we are basking in a universe that we did not create. So therefore, we have to tap into what is already here to manifest what is within us as human beings. So by God's grace and God's permission, when you submit to God and submit to righteous principles and integrity and character and moral value, then you unlock the gifts and talents that Allah and God has put within us. But wickedness is what kills the power. Wickedness and low desires and misuse of a natural thing is what kills the natural ability and powers that are within us from birth. So I've noticed several benefits. I mean, just spiritual benefits, more magnetic attraction in business, just in all aspects. Like, you become more successful. Money is definitely a part of it. You definitely get more money, you get more prosperous, but that is never the motive. You're never supposed to focus on that as a benefit. You're definitely going to make money because you're more focused, you're more tuned into your craft. So naturally, you're going to make more money. But that's definitely a part of it. You do see more money, more income. You see a greater, higher intelligence in relationship to your craft. You become more creative. You become more, I would say, influential in your craft. And that's all of these are by God's grace and God's permission. So these are the experience, and especially in my craft and being into fitness, I've become much more influential and just powerful in my ability to work out 4, 5, 6 hours at a time. My ability to do different exercises that are spiritual exercises because you have to overcome the pain of it. So now you sacrifice your body to build your mind and spirit. That has been a tremendous benefit for me, sacrificing my body more to tap into my spiritual abilities. And you have to deny your physical body at off times, and most times to really elevate your spiritual, you have to sacrifice your physical body. And it's a beautiful thing. It's so worth it. If we really understood it's worth it to sacrifice your physical lusts, your physical desires, because true pleasure lies in your spiritual existence. We just don't unlock it because we're too deceived and distracted with nothingness. We have to come away from that, all this carnal, physical crap, which means nothing, into a spiritual submission to the will of God. And then we start to evolve as we should, because you have to be granted that by the Creator, because God made us. So we're not self-created. You can't grant yourself these things. This is by God's permission. Otherwise, you justify being destroyed or removed from the universe. And ultimately, God is the destroyer. Ultimately, God is going to take our lives. So we have to submit to the God to be protected and to survive today. So there are so many benefits, but I want the brothers to understand that it's not just about the benefits of semen retention, but it's more so about obeying God's will, God's law. Like I said, the semen retention is just a fraction of the righteous code of conduct that is required for us to survive. It has nothing to do with women. Women and men respond naturally with one another. It's not something that's so hard to comprehend. Men and women need each other. We need each other to procreate. We need each other to exist. So we don't need to practice SR to become more attractive to women. I've seen posts on YouTube, and this is not a knock against anybody, but I've seen a lot of guys who say they practice SR talk about being more attractive to women. It doesn't matter how much attractive you are to women, because that's not the idea of semen retention. The idea of semen retention is to tap into your God powers. Women are going to be attracted to you anyway, especially when you practice SR, because they feel it. They feel that energy. Don't focus on that. Once again, that's vanity and that's self-aggrandizement. Focus on what pleases God. These women are looking for God. They're looking for God in men. So that's what you got to focus on. But you got to be for real and not play with it and half step and do it for these artificial, superficial, fake purposes. Because God knows if you're for real. God knows if you're serious about it. You can fake on YouTube and fake it on social media, but you can't fake out the Creator in the universe, because you wake up with that and you go to sleep with that. So it's in your best interest to be for real about it and don't play with it, because you're only playing with yourself. So these benefits, and there's no limit to the benefits. The benefits are beyond comprehension, and they get greater and greater and greater as you go on. God has much greater purposes for us and much greater gifts to give us, but we have to continue to obey God and overcome trials and tribulations. So I hope that was helpful. I would love feedback from this, and I hope all is well, and God bless you, YouTube family. Let's stay focused, let's stay connected, let's keep evolving, and let's keep spreading this knowledge. Peace and blessings.